With the World Cup now just a few days away from starting, we look at 3 of the players that are in the England World Cup squad, and they've all got to where they are thanks to non-league football. Now those 3 players are Jamie Vardy, Nick Pope and Jordan Pickford. Those 3 have all built the way up after having dropped down into non-league at some point in their careers. They've got right up to the top, right into the Premier League, performed consistently in the Premier League and managed to get into the England team as a result. So in this video, we're going to be looking more into detail about how they managed to get to where they are today, having gone into non-league, and how non-league has helped them to get to where they are. So make sure you stay tuned right until the end of the video. Pope, 26-year-old goalkeeper, plays for Burnley at present, but less than 10 years ago, he was up at 4 AM every morning doing a milk round. Yes, he was a milkman after he was released by the youth academy of Ipswich, but he's rebuilt his career fantastically. He moved to Bury Town, playing in their reserves in the 11th tier of English football before breaking into their first team, playing over 150 games for them before moving to Charlton in 2011. However, upon moving to Charlton, he went back on loan to non-league, picking up vital experience, slowly moving up through the leagues, eventually breaking into the team at Charlton. He signed for Burnley back in the summer of 2016 and finally broke into the first team after a year sat on the bench, keeping a total of 12 clean sheets between then and the end of the season. He helped Burnley qualify for Europe, finishing in 7th place. Fantastic achievement for them as a club, and him winning Player of the Season really signifies that he played a really big part in that. Jamie Vardy is probably the most famous rags to riches tale coming from non-league to the Premier League in recent years. He was released by Sheffield Wednesday's Youth Academy aged 15 and signed for Stocksbridge Park Steels, where he played in their youth team before moving up to the first team, while also having a full-time job making medicinal splints. Eventually, after 7 years at Stocksbridge, he moved to Halifax, where he spent 1 year before moving on to Fleetwood, again spending 1 year there when they were in the National League, then known as the Conference Premier, before getting a £1 million move up to Championship side Leicester City. It took him a while to get into the Leicester team, but he worked his way in. He eventually made himself a key part of their team as they got promoted up to the Premier League, and when he got to the Premier League, he really started to make a name for himself, creating a new Premier League record, scoring in 12 consecutive Premier League matches. The 15-16 season, what a memorable one that was. An incredible achievement for Leicester to win the league, and he was a real key part of that. Jordan Pickford had a much shorter spell in non-league compared to Vardy and Pope, but he credits it as a really important part of his career progression. He had a loan spell at Alfreton and a loan spell at Darlington back in 2012 and 2013, making a total of 29 appearances. When he played for them, both of those teams were in the 5th tier of English football, and he's since had a lot of loans, which slowly getting further and further up the pyramid before breaking into Sunderland's first team in 2016. He then made himself a regular in the Sunderland team before being sold to Everton for £25 million, making himself the 3rd most expensive goalkeeper in history. In a recent interview, Pickford stated that playing non-league football is a chance to play men's football. I've learnt a lot getting battered by fully grown blokes. You would come for a cross and catch an elbow in the face, but that's what you want. When you're that young, you want that experience. You see lads literally playing for their livelihoods or paying for their mortgages. It was great to go and learn your trade in that environment. But the thing is, a lot of players that are in Premier League youth academies, playing in under-23s teams, they're not willing to go and do the dirty work in non-league. As Pickford said, getting an elbow in the face when he comes for a cross. A lot of players, but in him being prepared to do that, he's gone and spent that time learning how to play a men's game. As a young teenager, playing alongside other men, playing the horrible side of the game, which you do experience a lot more in non-league, it really does set you up for a career at a higher level. Up at the top level, Premier League youth players, they earn ridiculous amounts of money themselves. Some of them can earn £100,000 a year as an 18-year-old. It's crazy money for players that literally don't even step foot on a football pitch for first team level. They just play in the under-23s because they're talented youngsters, but they've not proved themselves as a senior pro yet. Yet they're earning ridiculous amounts of money, and players, quite simply, and rightfully so, because they're being paid so much money, they don't want to drop down to non-league level and earn peanuts to be battered every week. The long-term aim of it is that it's going to build them up to be professional footballers in the future, because you need to experience that side of it. You need to be good at that side of the game to be a professional. And these players, in learning that at a young age. Vardy and Pope, it was almost forced upon them because they had to drop out of their youth academies and start playing on a permanent basis a lot lower down in the pyramid, whereas Pickford decided to do that on a loan basis when he left Sunderland to go on loan down the lower leagues to get game time, because especially as a goalkeeper, you don't get the physicality in a youth team environment, whereas playing men's football, you're going to get battered, as Pickford said, but he said that he wants that, and more English players need to want that. And as for all three of them having experience playing non-league football, where players, as Pickford said, are playing for their livelihoods, they're playing to pay their mortgages, you appreciate that it really means something to these players. So when you make it right up to the top, and you make it and you're secure financially, you're not worrying about money, you really appreciate it. And these players seem to be the ones that continue to work hard, continue to try and progress. And there's plenty of other examples over the years that have come from lower levels. Chris Smalling coming from Maidstone, going right up to the Premier League to Manchester United, breaking into the England team. However, he isn't on the plane to Russia this time. Then the likes of Dele Alli making his name at MK Dons, working his way up into the Premier League after playing at League One level for a few years. The non-league gives players that environment to rebuild their careers. If things don't go well and they drop out of Premier League and Championship youth academies, then non-league, if they're prepared to really battle, then they can get out of it, get back up to the Football League, Premier League, wherever they want to be. Non-league gives players that platform to rebuild their careers, which is why it is such an important part of football and why it is what so many people love, because you find so many gems in non-league, and that's the reason why. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below, are you excited for the World Cup? Do you think the three players that we've talked about in this video will have a big impact on the World Cup? I hope they do. And yeah, who do you think are the next gems that are going to come up from non-league and get into the England team potentially for the next World Cup or the World Cup after that? Let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, hope to see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.